Welcome back to Trekzone Plays. Matt Miller with you in Studio 4. Well, it's the second last mission of Star Trek Judgment Rites. We're off to the Klingon neutral zone to find out exactly what's going on. I'm getting a sense that we're going to find out who's been testing us and what's been going on in that regard. Without any further ado, let's roll the opener. Let's get into the second last mission of Star Trek Judgment Rites. This is Trekzone Plays, 100% gameplay, no commentary. The voiceover guy's going to tell you that too.
Retro games with no commentary. This is Trekzone Plays.
Captain's log, stardate 6169.3. While delivering supplies to outposts near Klingon and Romulan space, we received a distress signal from the Romulan neutral zone.
On screen, Captain.
This is Sub-Commander Guyon of the Warbird Infinitus. We are under attack. Assist us, please.
Transmission jammed at the source, sir. The transmission originated on the Romulan side of the neutral zone.
Captain, this could be a setup. The Romulans might be trying to lure us into a treaty violation.
We can't interfere in Romulan business. Take us to our next mission. Set course, warp factor 8. I'm not going to ignore a distress call, even if it is a Romulan. We can't interfere in Romulan business. Take us to our next mission. This day is not going well.
Captain, we have an emergency message from Starfleet. Code 1.
That's a planetary catastrophe.
On screen.
Captain, a very large alien ship is about to land on the planet Atibus in the Klingon neutral zone. The aliens stated that they intend to land in the midst of the capital city. Then the ship cut communications with us. Since then, all attempts to contact the alien craft have failed. You are the closest starship to Atibus. We want you to evaluate the situation and safeguard the colonists. We need you to make contact with the aliens.
Alien ship in sensor range. I detect one Klingon battlecruiser on a parallel course.
The Klingon commander is hailing us.
On screen.
Greetings, Enterprise. Welcome to Atibus. I am Captain Kla.
What are you doing here? And I am Captain Kirk. Greetings yourself. I take it that this is not your vessel. What are you doing here? And I am Captain Kirk. Greetings yourself.
I appreciate your courtesy, Captain. I wish to inform you that we mean the colonists no harm. You have my word that I intend to take no action against them. As you know, this is neutral space. I have as much right to be here as you. If you do not question this right, I believe that we are capable of bridging any misunderstandings that might arise in this delicate situation. I have always admired the Federation's diplomatic abilities. I believe we both have more important matters on our minds. Until later, Captain.
Well, it never rains, but pours. Mr. Sulu, take us into a parallel course with the alien ship.
Aye, aye, Captain.
We're beaming aboard the alien vessel. Have Dr. McCoy meet us in the transporter room. Spock, come with me. Lieutenant Uhura, if its communication system is malfunctioning, then we'll need you.
Yes, Captain.
Mr. Scott, you have the comm.
Grinagog watches everything, eyes shining brightly. His legs are pulled up off the floor and he hugs his knees. An enormous grin never leaves his face. This person is staring at the surface of the table in front of him, blinking from time to time. His complexion is sallow and he seems tired. He never looks up, but occasionally flicks away a speck of dust from the otherwise spotless table. An ordinary-looking table, utterly free of even a trace of dust on its upper surface. A potted plant. A potted plant. A set of books. A comfortable-looking room suited for small gatherings of people.
Captain, individuals on this ship appear to be suffering, perhaps from certain mental disorders. Were I to examine them, I might be able to determine something more.
I find the situation in this room disturbingly irrational at first impression, Captain. I suggest we endeavor to understand what we see around us in order to make a sensible analysis.
Captain, this place gives me the willies. I feel like I'm on a yellow alert without knowing why.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. What's going on here? Who's in charge?
Nobody's really in charge. Maybe the phase. That's one of the things that makes me so nervous. Nobody's really in charge. I try to take charge of little things like making sure the lights work. I don't like the dark. Are you gonna be in charge now? Maybe you should talk to the phase first.
The phase? What's the phase? Why don't you just tell me what's going on here? If you need help, the Federation has many resources. Would you tell me about this ship? Why are you going to land in a town on Atibus? Why didn't you respond to our hail? The phase? What's the phase?
We contemplate our phase. Some of our people think they're the ones who keep everything going. Sometimes they tell us things to do. They remind some people when to eat. Otherwise, they'd forget. I don't forget, but that's because I'm smart. If you want to, you can probably talk to the phase in the oratory. The builders built the oratory. The room there to the south, they built the garden north. If you're hungry or if your head ain't feeling right, there's food and such in the hall. Through there, the west door. The rest hall is through the east door, but you might have to wait for one of the beds. The builders were just so logical. They thought of everything. You can go anywhere.
You know, Jim, I don't think there's much more he can tell us. I can take a tricorder reading on him if you think it's appropriate.
Go away. You'll get it dirty. I can't stand a dirty table.
His mental activity is very high, but doesn't seem pathologic, Jim. Respiratory activity indicates a high degree of anxiety by comparison with others of his race. Now, that much stress is unhealthy if this is a chronic state. Slightly undernourished, sluggish pulmonary and circulatory conditioning. Doesn't get nearly enough exercise, I'd say. Brainwave activity uneven. I'd need a battery of tests to be sure. This is a complete new race after all, but he may be suffering from some blood chemistry imbalances likely to be affecting his mind.
A youngster is sitting alone, quietly playing.
Hi there, I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you?
I'm Stan Bob. Did my mom say I could talk to you?
Why, yes, she did. What can you tell us about things going on here? No, not exactly. We'd like to know what you can tell us about things going on here, though. I don't know that we've seen your mother. Still, if you can tell us something about what's going on here, we would appreciate knowing it. Why, yes, she did. What can...
I don't think my mom would want me to talk to you. Please go away and stop bothering me.
Keep back! I don't recognize you, you strangers! Rekabak, Gormagon, you recognize these people?
No, Tusken, we sure don't.
Keep them away. Keep them away from me. They'll hurt us. They're out to get us, I tell you. Have I ever been wrong?
No, Tusken, you kept us safe, and we keep you safe. We won't let them get you.
You people don't want to come any closer. Honest, I don't want to have to hurt any of you. It's just that Tusken won't like it. I hope you don't mind, but you really have got to stay back.
Protect me. They're after me.
We'll hurt you, so just stay back.
We really don't want to hurt you, you know, but you gotta stay back.
The tricorder informs me that the Klingon boarding crew has just beamed into the adjacent room, Captain.
You are Kirk. I am Kla, Captain of the Paul Ya. This is my aide.
These Klingons are so innovative in their introductions.
Shh. I'm Captain James T. Kirk, commanding the USS Enterprise. These are my crew, Science Officer Spock, Lieutenant Uhura, and Dr. McCoy. What can I do for you, Captain Clark?
You can avoid interfering with me or my man as we look around the ship, the same as you. And with the same air of mutual goodwill, we will avoid interfering with your activities. Unless we have cause to think your actions in some way threaten us or the Empire we represent.
We do not threaten the Klingon Empire, Captain Clark, nor its legitimate representatives.
Then there will be no difficulties between us, will there? We will leave you to your investigations now and carry on our own. You won't mind if we're in the room, will you?
We'd consider it a mark of our mutual respect, Captain, if you don't get in our way and we won't get in yours.
An overturned toy box. Tusken is a rather mangy-looking individual of middle age. His hair is wildly disordered and his eyes wide and wary. He seems skittish and likely to burst into flight or fight mode at the smallest incentive. Gormagon is a large person with a slightly cowed and uneasy expression. He bears a strong familial resemblance to Rakabak, but gives the impression of somewhat more intelligence. Rakabak is a large individual with a somewhat dull-minded expression, but wary and distrustful. He bears a strong familial resemblance to Gormagon, who is standing close by. A fuzzy animal-shaped toy that looks a bit like a bear. A room which appears to be dedicated to leisure and recreational activities. At least that's what you can see past the crowd of people.
You like chess? Any good? Jakesy's a whiz at it, even though he's pretty slow about everything else. My brother Rakabak took away his stuffed bear. Jakesy won't come in here to play no more. This is my greatest game ever. I'll give you the bear if you can beat me.
Yeah, you can have the dumb bear if you beat my brother at chess, and if you don't cheat.
A complex situation. However, check and mate.
How'd you do that? He cheated you, brother. He must have cheated you.
No, that's a legal move. Here, take the bear. I promised, and I do what I say.
I think it's a dumb game. That's what I think of this game. I think it's a dumb game. That's what I think of this game.
This individual wears a placid expression as he piles one block atop another, playing quietly. The incongruous thing is that he appears to be a full-grown adult. Noticing that you're looking at him, he raises his arms to you with a hopeful look. This individual appears somewhat elderly, but he holds his head proudly and his shoulders are thrown back. He nods benignly at you and a yellowish crown slips down a little lower on his brow. He clenches a short silvery rod with a bulbous tip firmly in one hand.
What a noble-looking woman you. You have my permission to speak. You stand out remarkably, bearing yourself like a queen. Yet these Carls do not treat you as royalty. Surely you have royal blood flowing in your veins?
Bloodlines do not dictate who we listen to. We weigh a person's worth by their actions. My leader here is Captain Kirk, an admirable man. Speak with him. My ancestors ruled in the lands of Kush and Timbuktu. We may speak as peers, you and I. Royalty recognizes royalty, does it not? Look on me and decide for yourself. You will know. Bloodline, my ancestors ruled in the lands of Kush and Timbuktu.
Oh, I am so glad to find another of royal blood. I am so tired of sitting here all the time, but whenever I leave, thralls and lesser folk plant their fundaments on the great throne, and that's just not acceptable. I know you'll mind the proprieties and not let anyone else sit on the throne. And now, I'll finally be able to go and get some rest.
He gathers together the blocks and gives them out to you. You manage to untwist a length of wire and a light bar.
We are just here to look around, Captain. I'm sure you don't mind.
Would it matter if we did?
Your doctor's discourtesy, though indirect, does no credit to your party, Captain Kirk. I would have expected better when we have done nothing to warrant rudeness.
We need not interfere with one another's activities, I think.
These plants look green and healthy, with strong stems and shiny leaves. A large countertop well suited as a workbench with what appears to be mechanized assists and a hookup close at hand. A small data terminal seems to be part of the design. These plants look brown, pinched, and wilted, although their root systems are as well developed as those in the other hydro bins. Attached is a sealed metal keg with a feeder hose attachment on top. A trace of greenish mold rims the connection joint. No effect. The feeder hose comes free and a mechanism pulls it out of the way. But a terrible stench rises out of the container, smelling like many things died in there long ago. No effect. Testing your strength, you attempt to remove the container from its housing. Unfortunately, it is permanently attached to the rest of the machinery.
The ceiling looks interesting.
A long twist of insulated wire. A round metal keg with a feeder hose attachment on top. The nutrient broth in this container has become contaminated. It should be disinfected before the container can be reused. The container heats up rapidly and foul-smelling smoke pours out of the small opening on the top.
This container must be refilled with nutrient broth before it is replaced for use.
Two feeder hoses roll out on wired mechanisms and insert into the container. From one flows a clear liquid nearly filling the container. The other hose just makes burping noises. The blocks fit through the opening, splashing as they plunge into the liquid. The container heats up slowly and the sound of bubbling echoes from inside. You stop and the container quickly cools.
I think that did it, Captain.
You take the metal keg.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
You settle the container back into the niche it was removed from. The feeder hose, looking shiny and clean, rides out on some mechanism and reattaches to the newly filled container. You hear gurgling and see the nutrient broth begin swirling through the liquid medium. The dying plants seem to perk up before your very eyes.
A hydroponics room, Captain. The console against the wall appears to be a workbench.
This might be a nice little garden if they added some rustic wooden benches and a little fountain, I guess.
Captain, we have just been thoroughly and efficiently scanned.
Please identify yourselves. You haven't been in to see me before, have you?
I'm Captain James T. Kirk, commanding the USS Enterprise. These others are my crew. Science Officer Spock, Lieutenant Uhura, and Dr. McCoy. Who are you?
We are the Fays. Did not your parents speak of me?
Captain, note that it identifies itself only erratically in the singular I, and a blend of voices typifies its communication.
Are you suggesting it is a hive mind, Mr. Spock? Or is the voice synthesizer simply programmed for a harmonic chord of voices?
Inconclusive. It may also be that an array of otherwise independent machines have been linked to provide the requisite computing power, although that is an antique and unsophisticated method of achieving this level of intelligence at odds with the overall level of sophistication and evidence. I suggest we pay close attention to both its actions and its words.
Fays, why would our parents have spoken of you?
I am here to care for all of you, Kirk. It is easier for me to care for you when you are younger, but sometimes one's parents are forgetful. We understand. I will care for you now. You will feel better after you eat.
Great. A food-fixating mothering computer.
It could, in fact, be very much that.
Fays, you're about to land on a planet inhabited by sentients in the middle of a settlement. If you are in control of this vessel, you must stop. You must not land there.
You will feel better after you eat, dear. Run along now. I'm very busy.
She's cataleptic, Jim. Completely submerged within her mind. Completely withdrawn from external stimuli. If I were to put her arm up in the air, it would stay there until I moved it back down.
Psychological damage or something physical?
I can't be sure even with rather extensive tests, but from the tricorder readings, I would say some psychological shock ruptured an inherently fragile cognitive structure. In ancient times, they would have said she was skittish or prone to a nervous breakdown or weak-minded. There are a myriad of childhood developmental blind alleys that might restrict her adult pattern creation representation
Bones, stop. You're starting to sound like Spock.
You do not have to be insulting, Captain. Are you suggesting I attempt a Vulcan mind meld, Captain?
It does seem an appropriate effort in this circumstance.
It will take me a moment to prepare myself. Doctor, please monitor her life signs. The procedure does entail some risk.
Not only to her, but to you too. Am I right?
I assure you, Doctor, I will retain sufficient distance to avoid being dragged into something from which I cannot withdraw.
Go ahead now, Spock.
I am Puzzlewit. I am the one who reads it all. I do not understand. I try. I read it all. So many ideas. Always jumbled, though. Cannot make sense of. Puzzlewit wants to know. Hope to discover why why I cannot. I try to remember it all. Then Tusken comes in. He destroys me. My hopes, all broken, all shattered. Ow. I'm broken in countless pieces.
Doctor?
No physical injuries, Captain. Not to him or to her.
Tusken's scared of me. Scared. For no reason. He thinks I know. I know, but I don't know. I don't understand. Nothing connects to anything else. I want to know it all. Hope then I'll understand. He thinks I'll hurt him. I don't hurt anybody. I just want to know more. Now I only know what I know. Never know what Puzzlewit doesn't know anymore.
What's going on here, Kirk?
We are trying to help this woman, Captain Clark. Be quiet, or you'll put her and my science officer both at considerable risk.
He's trying to make a mental slave of the alien, Captain. She could tell him the secrets of this ship, of its transit through the Klingon Empire. Stop him!
We'll listen in a moment. I wouldn't have a representative of the Federation damaged or rendering assistance.
Puzzlewit remembers everything she reads. Subject. Screen laminates. Reflective. Subject to autotrophic bonding with molybdenized nitrous oxides in the presence of cyanophosphortrihydrous gases. Subject. Wiring systems. Auxiliary to cryptolog.
Does Puzzlewit remember this ship passing through Klingon space, perhaps?
All the paralenses were copied prior to liftoff. No new encryption was permitted. We could only read, not write to them.
That's stellar ejector, Captain. Why would a computer terminal permit read-only interface, I ask you?
The builders didn't trust us. Didn't think we would be capable. We were damaged. Now, the reader is damaged. It's broken like Puzzlewit. Like us all. Like Tusken. The paralens can't be replaced. The reader can't be fixed. Puzzlewit can't be fixed. Nothing to read now. Nothing new to learn, to remember. Stupid. Like Tusken now.
This whole thing is stupid, if you ask me.
Anything but stupid, in fact. Captain Kirk, the library this woman read has been recorded entirely in her mind. although she lacks the ability to understand it or even to recall it in an orderly manner. She believed if she could fill up her mind, acquire enough knowledge, understanding would come. Now her personality is withdrawing, refusing to accept the loss of everything she has not yet been able to read. She pinned all her hopes on this, and without it, she may lose the will to live.
Do you know everything she knows now?
No, Captain Clara, I do not. This race has very unusual mind patterns, and I am fortunate she was in as passive a state as she is mentally. It is very likely I would have been hurt were she less withdrawn to begin with. Moreover, the knowledge she does possess is a very peculiar admixture, reflecting this society's uneven level of advancement. Archaisms and startling breakthroughs coexist.
So there is much to be learned from this woman, and from this ship.
Knowledge the Federation would gladly share with friends, Captain Clark.
Let nothing happen to this alien woman, Captain. If she should die, I would take it as an indication that you would sooner let her perish than share her special knowledge with the Klingon Empire.
Captain Clark, if I took her aboard the Enterprise, I might be able to help her.
I would have expected such treachery from the likes of you. You'll start an interstellar incident like this.
I thought some of the folks on board this ship were paranoids.
Gentlemen. Captain Clark, we don't want this woman to die any more than you do. Not because we want to milk her brain dry, but because she's an important being in her own right. Just as important to the universe as, well, as your companion here. Maybe more so. Dr. McCoy will do what he can. That's all that can be expected.
That's all I would expect. Goodbye for now, Captain. Expect to see us again.
That woman appears to need medical attention.
Someone seems to have been quite indiscriminate about damaging everything they could reach in here.
The guts of this machinery have been torn from the wall, leaving broken plastic and bent metal dangling. It doesn't look like it will ever work again. A column of iridescent sparkles and shimmers, punctuated by floating bubbles of colored light, dances around and within a barely visible central support frame. Gazing at it relaxes you and brings a mild but pleasant sense of peace and calm. A wan-looking female stands dejectedly, her shoulders slumped. Her whole appearance expresses deep worry and bone-crushing weariness.
Hi there, I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you? Are you feeling all right, ma'am? Can you tell me what the problem is? You look so sad. Would it help to tell us why you look so... Hi there, I'm Captain James T.
I'm called Ma. My son is Stan Bob, and I failed him. I feel so badly. I'm a terrible mother.
The woman's eyes brim with tears, and she can't continue the conversation. The machine whirs, lights blink, and a pre-packaged container of food is deposited on the tray. No effect. The box of prepared food is light and compact. A computer terminal with various access ports, a scanning rod, and a workspace. A large machine made from a red metal. An unremarkable piece of furniture offering nothing but a flat surface from which to eat while standing up. The nutrient additive is making these fruit-bearing plants grow at an astonishing rate.
This chlorophyll-based plant species has the capacity to produce edible fruits, which may offer significant nutrient value. These would be safe for human consumption, or Vulcan for that matter.
The red fruit comes free easily, dropping into your hand like it belongs there.
You got the plants to give fruit again, and I'd given up. Oh, I'm so happy. But I don't want to eat this. My son loves fruit, can't get enough, and I want him to have this. Please take it to him. He should be playing in the sleeping hall. I've warned him about not talking to strangers, but it's all right if you do so. You can tell him I said it was okay.
This is for me? Wow, thank you. Mom would really be happy. She has been so sad about not being able to give me what I like to eat. Even though I told her it was okay, she was really, really sad. Now she'll be really happy. Thank you.
Hi there, remember me?
Uh-huh. I remember. You want to ask me about something.
Tell me about Tusken and his friends. Tell me about the playroom. Tell me about your mom. I think that's all for now, Stan Bob. Go on back to what you were doing. Maybe we can talk later. Tell me about Tusken and his friends.
Tusken and his friends aren't nice to me. They're nice to my mom because they trust her, though. She's the only one that brings them food. Sometimes she brings me safe food, too, but she hasn't lately. I get pretty hungry because the safe food I put away in a secret place isn't any good anymore.
Tell me about Tusken and his friend. Tell me about the playroom. Tell me about your mom. Tell me about... I think that's all for now, Stan Bob. Tell me about
Tusken and his friends aren't nice to me. They're nice to my mom because they trust her, though. She's the...
Tell me about Tusken. Tell me about the playroom. Tell me about your mom. Tell me about the food. I think... Tell me about the playroom. Tell me about the playroom.
It's through there, through the east door. Tusken and his friends have taken it over. They play mean, except they don't play mean to my mom. That's on account of they think she won't let the food be bad.
Tell me about your mom.
Her name's Mom. She takes care of the garden, but she gets real sad a lot. She brings me fresh fruit, says it's good for me. I like fresh fruit, whole bunches. She hasn't brought me any in a while, and what I put away in a secret place isn't looking good anymore.
Tell me about the playroom. Tell me about your mom. Tell me about the food.
The food out of the machines can make me feel really sleepy and not very good. Mom says it's because of the stuff they put in the food. Tusken says it's poison and won't take any food from anyone but my mom. I put some good food away in a secret place, but the food doesn't look so good anymore. Do you want to see?
Sure, why don't you show us? No, I don't think that's necessary. I think that's all for now, Stan. Sure, why don't you show us?
The youngster opens a hidden cabinet near him, and a sour smell like rotting fruit flows from the opening.
See, it went bad.
It's slippery, sloppy, stinky, and goopy, but you collect what's there into a large specimen bag. A light scans the reeking glop, and the computer screen lights up.
The alkaloids present in this organic mass can be reduced to a high-potency tranquilizer. The undesirable emetics and purgatives can be eliminated. The resultant drug should be mixed with prepared food and eaten to produce a soporific effect. Do you wish to prepare the specified tranquilizer from this mix?
No, skip it. We'll just put this away and go on to something else. Yes, continue.
Done. The drug is prepared. Bring over the food you wish dosed with the drug, and the tranquilizer will be added.
The youngster Stambob comes to the doorway.
Mom, these nice people got me some fruit. It's fresh and everything, so you don't need to be sad anymore.
Son, I'm so glad. It means the plants are healthy again, and you won't have to eat food I'm not sure is good for you. Thank you, strangers.
I'm going back to my room, Mom, but I wanted you to know.
A light scans the food box, and the computer screen lights up.
The food in this box has been prepared with standard quantities of tranquilizing alkaloids, calmatives, and euphorics. The drugs and chemicals added in preparation cannot be extracted without degradation of their potency. The high-potency dosage of alkaloid tranquilizer you have prepared may be added now, if you wish.
Go ahead. No, I don't think... Go ahead.
I have to thank you again for what you did for my son. I was feeling so depressed because I couldn't give him the fruit I know is better for him than what the Fays make in the machinery. I don't trust the machinery food, and that's why I tended the garden, made fresh food. Even Tusken will eat food I give to him, and he doesn't trust anyone. If you ever need help, just show me what you want to give him.
Tusken will only accept food from you. You said you'd help us after we helped you. Will you give this to Tusken? It's heavily medicated, but that might help Dr. McCoy here to do something so he's better off.
I'll take this to Tusken now because I trust you. Go back to him and show him your food. He'll call for me, and I'll give him this instead. He'll be a good boy.
The red fruit comes free easily.
Stay back.
We really don't want to hurt you, you know, but you gotta stay back.
See here, Captain Claw. I told you those Federation scum would be nosing around behind our backs.
The Klingon observers seem interested in remaining to watch what goes on here.
I am hungry. So hungry. It looks like good, wholesome. Maul? Where's Maul? I don't take nothing from nobody. Nobody except her. You do something to it. Make me different. You'd rewire my head.
Call for me, Tusken? I thought you might be hungry, so I brought you something you can safely eat. You know you can trust me, Tusken.
Yeah, I know I can. And I am hungry. Didn't want to eat something I couldn't be sure of, though. Give me that. Now I want to take a nap. Maul, you watch out for me, okay?
The Klingon captain gravely takes the fruit, smells it, and takes a large bite from it.
Thank you. This is good. And while my aide might disagree, some food becomes that much sweeter when it is shared.
Rakabak falls, defenseless against the power of the phaser.
An inelegant solution, Captain Kirk, but efficient.
I listened to my brother Rakabak and to my friend Tusken. They say we have to protect this room and keep anyone from getting into it. Tusken's afraid. Well, Tusken's just confused. I don't think I should go into it right now, but he thinks if people knew all about this place, they'd hurt his mind. Actually, I'm sure things would change. It might be a change for the better, maybe. Maybe not. I'm not sure what to think of you. I just don't know if I should trust you.
Well, Gormagon, I think you should trust them. They've repaired the garden, which is good for all of us. They gave fresh fruit to my boy Stan Bob when even his own mother couldn't manage that.
Gormagon, neither my aide nor I came aboard this ship expecting anything but treachery and venality from these people. They've impressed me, and I commend them to you.
Well, despite some misgivings I had, I'll accept what others have said about you. I think I should show you the way into the heart of the phase, the secret entry that Tusken is so afraid of. I feel that something good can come of this.
This looks almost identical to the containers that house the phase. This room appears strangely compressed, giving a sense of closeness that borders on the discomforting. Every wall is interlaced with what looks like a web cage of electrical wirework, with almost organic-looking nodules and bubbles. You have the distinct sense that you're inside a machine and that it doesn't seem to occupy space in any natural fashion.
Nothing unusual about that object, Captain. Nothing This is not a life form, Captain, but it does register with biomagnetics and considerable electrical complexity. This is the heart of a functioning, artificially intelligent construct. This room is thoroughly fascinating, Captain. I theorize that this is a virtual space replica of the interior workings of the artificial intelligence which the phase represent. The interface is seamless, and work performed in here is functionally identical to working directly in the computer. Like so much we've seen before now that is highly advanced technology, yet archaic 20th century style wiring carries the electronic information.
I worked with things like these when I was younger. Given our surroundings, see if you don't find this more useful.
Allow me, Captain. Let me do that. The information I acquired from Puzzlewit's mind indicates this could be a delicate operation, easily mishandled. I think you will find it fits just here. Lieutenant Uhura, if you will bring over that length of wire while I hold this in place, I believe we can get this repaired speedily.
Certainly, Mr. Spock. With that in place, I can see that it will easily fit. Here.
The final connection is made, and Uhura smiles widely.
That's it! That fixes the broken connection.
Thank you. I am now once again whole, and no longer an intelligence divided against myself. The system you repaired will re-enable me to analyze and update received data from external and internal sensor systems, altering conceptual constructs of previously acquired data. These systems appear to have been malfunctioning for some time, although it will take additional review to clarify all conditions. Much may have been lost permanently.
Jim, do you notice? The phase isn't switching between I and we like it did in the oratory, and the voice is a single note, not a harmonic chord of blended voices.
And it hasn't suggested we go get something to eat either.
I am chagrined that my disabilities have endangered my mission. The compassion was launched with the best of intentions. If I can answer anyone's questions, I will endeavor to do so.
Captain Kirk, you don't mind if I ask a question, do you?
You'll get your turn, Klingon. Just hold your horses. Other things come first. Be my guest, Captain. Ask away.
That you give me first place to speak is a mark of honor, Captain Kirk, and does not pass unnoticed, particularly in light of the urgency of your own questions. Hayes, this ship passed through the heart of Klingon space. We were not even aware of it until it was nearly out of our territory. We backtracked it and found it must have closely approached places we find sensitive. We expect assurances that data you may have collected there will not reach the hands of those who mean us harm.
We seek proof. We expect you to download your entire memory into our ship's computers, that we may search it for data you have no right to.
Thereby would you not acquire data to which you have no right?
My aide speaks too strongly. While it is true we are interested in the knowledge and technology you possess, technology to pass through our empire undetected, knowledge of how to twist space back upon itself, for that data, we will treat with you as one civilized people with another. But it is a justified request that we ask you to destroy all data dealing with anything you learn within our borders.
Had I any data, I would agree to seal it. However, as you should have deduced, I have none. Until my sensory systems were repaired, my ability to receive and process data was severely impaired, especially in regard to external data updates. Based on my presentry analysis of nearby space, I would speculate that my only data on your present sphere of influence would be as that area of space existed a very long time ago indeed.
That is information for us to know, not you. Erase it.
Silence! Hayes, we would welcome access to that information, but on the same basis as we would bargain with you for technological data. We have more to offer with you, I believe, than the Federation represented by these others.
Nesoi, Hadkla. So web korda.
Phase, do not be hasty making that decision.
I lack sufficient data to make any assessment. I can give no answer at this time.
The primary reason we came aboard was to find a way to stop you from landing on top of our colony on Atipus, which would certainly kill thousands of our people. Now that your external sensors are functional, have you altered your plans about where you intend to put the ship down? How did your systems become damaged?
I'm curious about what your builders really had in mind, shipping off all these people off planet. There seems to have been some shadier agenda. The eugenics wars of our own past produced some of the ugliest abuses in human history, and notorious characters like Khan Noonien Singh, whose name still resounds with infamy. How is the ship you call the Compassion justified?
I'd be interested to learn more about those who built this ship. Their achievements certainly seem erratic in sophistication, but much of it goes beyond even what we are capable of accomplishing today. For example, the Paralance medium for recording computer data is something we are only now beginning to explore. I think there's much to be learned from these people. That's all for now, Phase. I assume we can talk to you if we have more questions. The primary reason we came aboard was to find a way to stop you from landing on top.
No, Captain Kirk. I will certainly not set the Compassion down in a populated area, now that I can see it is there. I am at present in communication with the planetary authorities, and they are directing me to a stationary orbit until further arrangements can be made for my wards. Then are there other questions?
Is the ship still set to land on Atipus colony? How did your systems become damaged?
I'm curious about what...
How did your systems become damaged?
I am sorry I cannot explain this at this time. I do not even know if it is explicable, but I will search my memory for an answer for you. Then are there other questions?
Is the ship still... Please clarify...
I'm curious about what...
Please clarify the anomalies we have perceived while being on board.
I'm curious about what your builders really had in mind.
I have no information about your eugenics wars, but a fundamental social philosophy of the builders was that civilized people of goodwill would tolerate and value variability as a sign of cultural and social health. That a civilization will be judged by its tolerance of disparate ideas, by how it treats those who cannot protect themselves, be they very young, very old, or otherwise challenged, by the measure of altruism extended to those less powerful, even when rightfully in possession of something desired.
A central aspect of Vulcan philosophy is embodied in the Idic. Infinite diversity in infinite combinations. It would seem the builders pursued similar high ideals.
High ideals, perhaps, but that does not explain why these people are in space, Phase.
More than this I cannot explain. However, you can locate additional library data under the heading Compassion. Oh, I haven't made it available. I should have done that immediately. I can't imagine why I didn't think of it.
Fascinating, Captain. That instance of forgetfulness makes it possible to speculate that the phase is not wholly restored after all.
Then are there other questions?
Is the ship still set? Please clarify the anomaly.
I'd still like to know.
I'd be interested to learn more about those who built this ship. Their achievements certainly seem erratic.
My best recommendation is to examine the library records under Builders or Technology. There is more data than I can easily explain. Then are there other questions?
Is the ship still set? Please clarify the anomaly.
I would still...
That's all for now, Phase. I assume we can...
I would still like to learn more about these people.
That's all for now, Phase. I assume we can talk to you if we have more questions.
I will do my best, Captain. Although intelligent entities often find that there are more questions than answers.
The crystalline lens feels cool and surprisingly heavy, with smoothly polished edges. The lens slips easily into the terminal's reading port and the screen activates.
Compassion. Diagi, decision. Shambrum, philosophy. Builders, technology. Exit database. Compassion. The name of a Cetic class starship. The name signified the compassion for the travelers, all of whom were diagnosed with life quality inhibiting disorders of class 3 or higher. After a full generation of debate on ethics, a consensus opinion was reached, the so-called Diagi decision. Final planned destination of the compassion was a return to Shambrum in 4 generations. Compassion, Diagi decision, a landmark of planet-wide consensus, the first of such sweeping effect in the history of Shambrum after the failure of the individual nation-state and the rise of pan-world participation in self-rulership. All individuals suffering at class 3 or higher were sent on extended extrasolar transshipment to await research into these conditions and their treatment.
Now, just 1 minute, Phase. Are you listening? You keep saying you can't remember or you lack data or what have you. Even the library data seems vague, incomplete, and contradictory. If you don't know, then who does?
Forgive the pause. I had to think long and hard to discover if you had correctly passed this final test. You correctly identify the heart of the matter. Let me introduce you to my builders.
This is madness! Phase, what is this?
Despite our misgivings, you have shown yourselves to be the representatives of spacefaring peoples we, the Brassica, would most trust to make first contact with. The contest has been in progress for some time, situations in which your true colors have been explored. The invitation has been made. You may return to your ship if you prefer, or you may step through whenever you are ready. Then, the final round begins.
I think you have it right, Captain Clark. This is madness, Jim.
I think, Bones, it's Shakespeare who had it right. Though this be madness, yet there is a method in it.
I agree with the sentiment, Captain Kirk. There is something more going on here, far deeper than first appearances have suggested. I imagine you will accept the invitation. I will certainly choose to go, whether you do or not. I believe the invitation is extended to all.
I will not permit that, Captain Clark. I will take all methods to prevent you. I will not go. It is certainly a Federation trick.
You begin to sound like Tusken in the other room. Get a grip of yourself and act like an officer.
Captain Clark, I will not let you depart. These human scum have tricked you. If I have to beat up all of you, I will. You, Vulcan, you understand orders. Help me knock out my mad captain, and I will take him away and out of your hair. Captain Clark, I will not let you depart. These human scum have tricked you. If I have to beat up all of you, I will.
I am determined to go explore. There may be dangers, but I accepted that challenge the first day I decided to make my life in space.
Mr. Scott, they've disappeared off the sensors.
What do you mean, laddie?
They've just vanished.